Hey, Gen X guy here. Hope everyone's doing well. Doing another little walk and talk today. Did you guys see that Ryder Cup this weekend? We almost did it. We almost came back and beat the Europeans. If we would have, that would have been one of the biggest comeback feats in all of sports history. It was close. We did good. We finally showed up for the tournament at the very end. I don't know how many of y'all are golf fans, but I sure am. But anyway, another walk and talk here. Hope you had a good weekend. If you would, before we get started today, subscribe to the channel, like the video. You can do that down below. Channel's growing. I've been looking at the stats and reviewing the channel. I've done about 12 videos so far, and it's become apparent that you guys like me talking about basically our current situation, what's going on with the economy, the financial markets, mainly the crypto market, and kind of how all that plays together, and get my insights on it. So I'm going to try to focus on that a little bit more with the channel, and give you a little bit more of what you're wanting. So let's dig in today, guys. It's going to cover a few different things. I want to start with talking about you got a government shutdown coming, October 1. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? We're going to fold? Who's going to fold? It seems to me like every time we turn around, every 6 months or so, we get into this situation. I'm sick of it. Sick and tired of it. We always get to this breaking point and push things off, and then we comes to this point where we threaten the shutdown and wait till one side caves instead of coming together and solving problems and moving on. But here we are. I think the prediction markets are saying we've got a 60% chance of a shutdown, and Trump's threatening to, do away with a bunch of jobs. And whether you agree with that or not, I mean, whatever, it is what it is. But I'm just fundamentally, I'm sick and tired of, these shutdowns all the time. It's chaos. And so what's that do to the markets? Well, we don't know. We'll see what happens. I think if we avoid the shutdown, which we probably will, one side typically folds at the end. And I think it probably will be the Democrats will probably fold, just because, most everything's controlled by the Republican side right now. It's just the way it is. So will we see volatility? Well, if we do avoid a shutdown, I think you'll see things go up higher. I think it's somewhat inevitable anyway. It's what's happened in the past, so we'll see. GDP and unemployment looking pretty good. GDP was, I believe, 3.8%. Now, that's good. I think that surprised people. Unemployment ticked down. It came in less than what was expected, so that's good. It's a good sign to see that there's a lot of fear in unemployment. We had unemployment. It's there, but it wasn't as bad as the analysts predicted. Last week, crypto was rough. I believe it was a week ago Sunday, we had a pretty big liquidation event, and that typically will happen on Sundays when there's a lot of leverage in the market. I think we got it cleaned up, so we're rebounding right now. Will it stick? Maybe. I think October is what it's. October is typically a great month for crypto. We boom, and now we're where we are in the four-year cycle, and there's debate. Are we going to have a traditional 4-year cycle, or has that changed? I'm on the fence about that. I think it's going to change a little bit. I don't think we're going to see the 4-year cycle as it relates to the Bitcoin 4-year cycle exactly like we've seen it in the past. So I think October, November, I think we're going to have more rate cuts, though the chances of more rate cuts has been diminishing. If you look at the prediction markets, that has been going down. But I think in general, rate cuts, quarter points, are still on the table. So I think we'll see that. Also, within the next month, October and November at the latest, you're going to see several spot crypto ETFs hit the stock market. And if you're familiar with the Bitcoin and the Ethereum ETFs, those launched a year and a half ago, and they've been the biggest ETFs to ever hit, surpassed gold. Any of the ETFs that have hit, the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs have been huge. What that means is you can essentially buy spot Bitcoin as an ETF on the stock market, which basically tracks the price of Bitcoin up and down. So if you're not into buying crypto on a traditional crypto exchange, but you still want exposure to it, you can buy any of the, I think there's about 12 Bitcoin ETFs, and there's about just as many Ethereum ETFs, and you can acquire those in your retirement account, or if you just buy it straight in a brokerage, just a straight up trading account. And I own both of those. What you're going to see coming is Solana is going to have one launch. XRP's coming. You're going to see Chainlink. I think there's like 92 applications total. What the SEC will do is they'll just launch a whole slew of them at once. And so I think that's what you're about to see happen here in the next, it's probably going to be within the next month. They won't give a specific date, but I can see the amendments and the documentation and the tickers are in queue. So you will be able to do the same thing with Solana, Chainlink, XRP. There's a list and a big list, and I'll see if I can't put the list on screen here of all the spot crypto ETFs that'll launch, which is good because then you'll be able to get exposure to some of these. It's really the big ones, the ones that are big, decentralized, US based. So that's good. So we should be seeing that. That'll bring a lot of demand as well, and should drive the prices of those cryptos up. Gold, again, it keeps going up, going higher and higher and higher, and that's telling us a lot. It's not even wanting to act like it's going down. It's just going up. And so I think you probably see it continue to climb here, and that's, and silver as well. I mean, silver is doing just as good or better than gold here lately. So it's on a real big climb right now. So both of those, and I've got both of those. It's good to have it, the real thing, and then you can also buy it on the stock market as well. But I actually hold the real thing because I think it's better to have the real thing. Yes, you buy the stocks or the ETFs of those, you're kind of riding with it and you're getting the gains of it, but you're not at the end of the day, you're not holding the real thing. And that's kind of the point, in my opinion. So, here's another thing that I think is very important for people to understand right now is that, in my opinion, I think you've got about 5 years to build as much wealth as you can. And that's kind of my message for today. We may get 10, but I think you really need to be aiming for the 4 to 5 year time frame, just in the way that macroeconomics are playing out, where we are, and all this stuff's at an all-time high, and how much money we've been printing, and the big beautiful bill is printing another $5 trillion on top of the trillions we've printed before. If I were to give any kind of recommendation to anyone, I would say you need to pile in as much wealth as you can, especially if you're in those later years, you're a Gen Xer like me. Accumulate wealth, guys. Get as much of it as you can right now. Pay attention, because I think once we get in the next 4 or 5 years, there's going to be a decade of some rough times. Why? AI. I think AI is going to really change some things in the way things unfold, the unemployment. Unemployment, that's a big deal. When we start seeing unemployment numbers ticking up at a high clip, that's going to be a big reality shock. So gain as much wealth as you can now, and work that game now. Don't wait. Don't put it off. And so how do you do that? You get into good assets. You get in them early. You pay attention. You take profits along the way. You take a quarter to a third of your growth, take it into profits, wait for dips to happen, wait for the market to have sell-off days, and then if we're still in a bullish trend, then enter back into the market, buy low, and then let it ride up, take profits. That's how you build wealth. I've been in previous years, I've been one of these to just put money in and just let it sit there. Well, it's okay long term. You will build wealth long term, but you won't build it faster. And what I mean by that is when you have gains, when you're 2x something, you're up 100%, you're up 200, 300% on an asset, it's good to take some profits off the table. 20%, heck, even 10, 15%. If we're in a bull trend and you believe it's still going up, it's okay to take some money off the table, and you're still in the market, you're still there, but it never hurt anyone to take profits. And that's something that I was not very good at, that I've recently here in the last few years have learned to do, is take profits, because it's the compounding effect of money. You take profits, that gives you cash on the side to be able to buy the dips, or buy when the market has a minus 1,000 day on the Dow or the NASDAQ, or we have a huge sell-off. When the dust settles and it looks like, okay, everything's good, it wasn't a massive catastrophe, what can you do? You can enter back in, you buy low. Now you're buying more than you had before at a lower price, and so then you ride that up. Now you're compounding your wealth, and that's what you want to do. Stack Bitcoin. I can't stress enough how important it is to stack Bitcoin. Why? It's simple math. There's only 21 million Bitcoin that will exist. It's programmed in. And so when you do the math, 21 million, in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing. There's roughly 60 million millionaires in the world. So do the math. If there's 60 million millionaires and there's 21 million Bitcoin that'll ever exist, that means that if every millionaire wanted one Bitcoin, they're not getting it. They're only getting about a third, right, of a Bitcoin. There's only a third to go around. So if we just said, okay, we're going to take all the 21 million and divvy it up amongst just the millionaires and just pretend, they would only get a third. So now you look at, and I'm just giving you a little bit of tokenomics on Bitcoin right now. So you say, okay, there's 21 million Bitcoin. And so we know there's roughly 60 million millionaires in the world, and they're buying, they're accumulating. And then you start looking at governments. The United States, it wants more. Then you start looking at states. There's many states that want to create Bitcoin reserves. United States has been very vocal, and that's what they're wanting to do, is create a Bitcoin reserve. And I think that will happen. We already do have a lot of Bitcoin. I think we have a couple 100,000 Bitcoin right now. And so then we're not even talking about these other countries and sovereign wealth funds. We're not even talking about companies, corporations. You're starting to see treasury companies spin up. Michael Saylor strategy, that's solely what that company is doing now, is acquiring Bitcoin at large clips. And so now he's holding large chunks of Bitcoin. So you take 21 million, he's got a massive chunk. Metaplanet, there's another treasury company that's been piling it in and acquiring it. And so then there's an estimate, they estimated that of the 21 million, which actually, guys, it's 21 million is all that'll ever be minted of Bitcoin. Right now we're at about almost 20 million minted. It's like 19.8, 19.9 million. I don't have the exact number, you can look it up, but it's close to that. And so over time more will be minted until it hits the 21 million, and you're looking at like the year 2140 before we hit the 21 million. So we're really only talking about, and also too, there's 400 Bitcoin roughly that is being minted per day. I mean, that's nothing. And with that high amount of demand, you can just see where the supply and the demand, how that can drive price high, really fast. And so then there's an estimated 4.5, 5 million Bitcoin that are lost forever. So what do I mean by lost forever? That means that back in the day in 09, 2010, 11, you know, when Bitcoin was new and people were buying it and buying 30,000 of them for a penny a piece, or just didn't think it was ever going to go anywhere. People just kind of treated it like, you know, this isn't going anywhere. Little did they know. And then they didn't save their seed phrase, or they lost their wallet, and they had a whole bunch of them on their wallet, and now it's gone forever. So they're just sitting, those coins are sitting on the blockchain, and whoever bought them will never be able to access them again. So now you take 5 million, and then there's Satoshi, who's got 1 million to himself, and nobody knows, you know, is he dead, alive? So there's that's off the market. So you start looking at the supply. I mean, wow, you're really talking about some massive explosion. Then you say, okay, well, how much is available to buy on the exchanges? You're talking less than 15% of Bitcoin is available to be purchased on the exchanges. And that number is falling fast, and it has been falling fast. Pretty soon we'll be at 10%. Pretty soon we'll be at 8%, 5%. And so the number's dropping, and so we're in a supply shock building now. We're in one now, but it's going to be when there's no Bitcoin to be bought. So the exchanges, we don't have it. So the only way you're going to buy it is literally on the exchanges when there's a buyer matched, a seller matched with a buyer. Meaning that if I have one Bitcoin that I want to sell, I go on the exchange, and then I'm on the order book as a seller, and then a buyer comes and buys that from me. And when you have that much demand with that little supply like that, the price is going to skyrocket. So don't be surprised if you see by 2030 one Bitcoin is $1 million. I mean, just do the math, guys. I mean, it's inevitable that's going to happen. So supply crunch is definitely something that's a reality, going to happen. A lot of people say, no, there's no way. You know, there's no way Bitcoin can get to 1 million. Oh yes, it can, and it can go higher as well. And so my recommendation would be to stack as much of it as you can. They say stack sats. Do it, even just a little bit. I mean, make it a goal to try to get to 1/100th of a Bitcoin. That would be 0.01. Just make that a goal to try to get to that as soon as you can. And then once you hit that goal, try to get to a tenth of a Bitcoin. And the sooner you try to get it, the easier it's going to be to attain it, right? The longer you wait, the higher the price, the harder it's going to be to get there. And how do you get there? You do it a little bit at a time. You know, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And so that's how you do it. You just DCA, you buy the dips and just make it a goal. So just owning 1/10 of a Bitcoin is going to be massive. I just can't stress it enough. He was like, well, it's 1/10 of anything is nothing. 1/10 of a Bitcoin is going to be huge. And then you start talking about a one coiner. They call it, when you have one Bitcoin, you're a one coiner. Now you're talking, that's if you have one coin or more, you're in you'll be in the less than 1% of Bitcoin holders. I know that's hard to believe, but when you start looking at just simple math, 21 million of them that'll ever be minted, and that won't happen until 2140, as I said. And there's about just under 20 million of them minted now. There's 400 being minted per day. But then the demand is much higher than that per day. So we're already taking more Bitcoin off the market that's being minted. And Bitcoin's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. It's not going to just get unplugged. It's too decentralized. The network is all over the world, and you just can't just say, well, we'll just unplug it. No, that's not the way it works. And then you say, well, what if the power goes out? Well, look, if the power goes out, none of it's going to matter. Your stocks aren't going to matter. Your ETFs aren't going to matter. Your IRA, your portfolios aren't going to matter. Not much is going to matter, except for maybe guns and ammo and land and survival and food and water. If we have an event like that, yeah, it doesn't matter. And what are the chances of that happening? We don't know, but I would say low. When you look at just straight probability, I don't say that's high. So anyway, guys, it's important to have Bitcoin. When you start talking about government shutdown, unemployment coming, AI, the onset of AI, really do your homework. So that's it for today, guys. I appreciate your climbing up this big hill right now. I appreciate your time. Again, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel down below. I'm going to keep this kind of updated, with what's going on, and kind of give you my insight, and maybe give you some help to based on what's going on and my thoughts, and maybe what I'm doing to have my game plan and what I'm trying to do. Maybe it'll help you out. So everyone have a good day. I'll keep you updated. Gen X out. See ya.